All right, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't put music on. Might distract me a little bit too much. If I turn it down over here, are you guys still gonna hear it? Oh, you can still hear it. All right. I'll just need people to tell me whether it's too loud or not. Yeah, all right, that works. That works. Do that. Okay. I guess we'll just run it right now. All right. So game plan here. This is going to be a VoD on Twitch too. I don't know if I'll just directly post the VoD or if I will kind of like edit this up for the second channel, but this is going to be a second channel thing. I'm going to go through every single question that somebody's asked through the Twitter posts and through the Discord forum post, and I'll give the answers that I have off the top of my head. Situation reports on the stuff from BSG is they want it to be arena focused, or mostly, arena focused. They want it to be mostly about arena, and they want way less questions. So I'm fighting for everything that I can, and we'll see what we can get through. I'll try and get the most important questions, but I guess what I'll do is I'll go through. Is there no sound? Oh, fuck. Maybe you can't hear me. Hold on. It's possible you couldn't hear me. Can you hear me now, Grave? It just started, so I guess I can just restart. I'll restart for the VOD too. Clear now? Okay. I was having some issues with I think I have to change up my settings when I do because I do like the replay through OBS. Can you hear music in the background, by the way? I have the music turned off for me, but turned on for the stream because it was a bit little not annoying. Yes, okay, yeah. I do want it on for the stream and it'll get muted for the VOD anyway. All right, I'll redo that. So I just did a little bit of an intro, but apparently you guys couldn't hear me. Let me know if the music's too loud or if it needs to be turned down or whatever. The real thing here is I wanted people to be able to take part. I didn't tweet this out or nothing. I just went live. Because what this is going to be is it's going to be for the second channel. It's just a simple way of getting in a VOD, and then also if other people want to add to it, they can by being in chat. But plenty of people, literally hundreds of people have already taken part by doing the Discord and doing the Twitter thing. Game plan with this is I'm live on Twitch. I'll take the VOD. I'll put it on the second channel, maybe edit it a little bit. Depends on how it ends up going. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every question that I can from the Twitter and every question that I can from the Discord forum post and get as many answers as I possibly can out there that I know off the top of my head. And that's to help out as many people as possible, because I didn't get every question on the Q&A, and even then it was 44 questions, and BSG want less questions. They want less questions than the 44, which is understandable. I mentioned that in today's video. If you guys are watching in chat, exclamation point YT for the YouTube channel, check out the most recent video. We get sit rep on today's patch and all that stuff. So they want less questions, and they want it to be arena focused. I'm fighting for a lot more than that. I'm fighting for it to not be arena focused, because in my mind, I think the arena questions have pretty much been answered. We just want some clarifications. A couple of them are super important clarifications, but at the end of the day, we're going to be able to play arena for ourselves and have any of those and all of those questions answered for ourselves in 4 months or less, probably less. Anything involving arena, we're gonna have those questions answered. So my focus and like what I'm fighting for in order to get answers from BSG is the base game questions. And I did add some more. So what we'll do is we'll go through. Oops, did I not transfer those over? Give me a second here. These are the full list of questions that I got from BSG, or that I got to BSG. We'll go over here. And we'll make this so that it's not blinding everybody by doing this. And I don't actually know how to zoom in for the stream, but I'll just quickly go. It's not going to be quick. It's going to be the 44 questions. How should I do this? Maybe what we'll do is we'll go at the end here. Actually, no. We'll do this at the beginning. I'll zoom in here for the stream. Let me go over here. And we'll zoom in so that you guys can see this a bit better and you guys can like kind of take part in it a bit if you want. And then that way, I can tell people go back in the VoD while they're on stream on Twitch, and you guys can get your take on that stuff. Again, to be clear, BSG want less questions, so I'm going to be taking questions out of this list that we're about to go through off of the sticky notepad thing here. I need to reduce these, and I'm contemplating on just removing Arena completely because we are going to have these answers questioned, or we're gonna have these questions answered no matter what in 4 months or less. So I'm thinking about completely removing Arena and just asking the base game questions, but we'll go through these anyway. Sav, what's up, dude? Thank you very much for the resub. Don't worry about like the resubs and stuff, guys. I don't want to have to like thank you guys while we're doing this because I'm trying to put it on the second channel as much as I appreciate it, and I will if you do it. I'm just saying don't do it right now because we'll handle that stuff later. Plus it pops up on screen and stuff. Been a minute since I could be here. Yeah, we're just hopefully we can get back on streaming. I'm busy enough as it is with YouTube. Okay. Arena. Will Arena wipe with the base game wipes? I'm thinking that it will. I just added it in because it's a good question. I'm thinking it's actually kind of obvious that Arena should wipe when the base game wipes. We'll see what happens after release. Is there skill-based matchmaking in unranked and ranked or just ranked? This is a clarification. I'm assuming it's just going to be ranked, and we'll find out in a couple months anyway. With the way Arena currently shows loadouts, we didn't see an option for armor. So will Arena have the new armor system coming in December, or will the armor be default? Sort of a good question, but again, something we're going to have answered anyway. What that is based off of is, you know how we see our loadouts in Arena? It doesn't show us whether you have level 3 or level 6 plates. You just, based off of how the game works right now, you just know if it's a slick or a packer or whatever, so you know whatever level of armor plate is in there. But with the new armor system, where you can swap out plates, that becomes a question. Is that a slick rig with a level 2 plate in there? We don't know. So we don't know what's going on with that. Genuinely a good question, but again, we're going to know in a couple months. Will you match against players with much higher PMC skills like strength and recoil control in ranked modes? This was something that was contradicted between my Q&A with Nikita, his open Q&A, and answers that I got from various employees of Battlestate Games. This was a very important question. And part of the contradiction was Nikita referred to skills as quote unquote locked in ranked mode. Does that mean that they won't level or that you can only level them so high? Does it mean if you have a higher strength or endurance, it will reduce them? Or if you have them lower, it will raise them to make it fair? This is the contradictionary part and, you know, stuff like that. Again, we're going to know in a couple months anyway, but still it'd be good to have an answer for that. Can you level your base game PMC in unranked or just ranked? I think it's just going to be ranked, but again, this was just a clarification we would like to have. Can you earn anything from unranked mode, or is it just for fun? Again, this is just a clarification. I'm pretty sure you can't earn anything from the unranked mode. Are all 5 game modes in ranked and unranked? I think that this is going to be true. I think you're going to have all 5 game modes in both, but again, this is just a clarification. Thanks, Blackbird, for the 5 months. I appreciate you, man. I would disable it temporarily. Just chill, guys. Just be in chat. Just don't worry about the subs and the resubs and stuff. We can come back later. We're going to be doing a bunch of BattleBit and Tarkov stuff soon anyway. Once I find the spare brain power to be able to do that. Nikita accidentally confirmed we will be able to find arena loadouts in the base game. Will they only be the quote-unquote special loadouts, or can you also find loadouts that are above your arena level? I think we had an answer to that already, and it's a yes, I think. But again, this is something that we just want clarified. We know that you're going to be able to find, because Nikita accidentally confirmed it, we know that we're going to be able to find those loadout cards, and they're going to be special use in the base game. So you're going to be looting on reserve or whatever, and then whatever they have as a physical object to represent the arena loadout cards, you're going to be able to find those and then use those in arena. It's just a question on the variety of those that you're going to be able to find. If they're just going to be the special loadouts, which are definitely going to be special and be cool, or if you're level 12, let's say, I don't even know what the levels are going to go to in arena, are you going to be able to find a level 22 loadout in the base game and then use a loadout that's a higher level in arena? A clarification, I think it's a yes, but again, a clarification that we would like to have answered. But when we have to narrow these down in order to get the answers, I don't think it needs to be answered. In fact, again, I don't think any of these arena questions need to be answered, because although it'd be nice to have an answer, we're going to know in a couple months anyway. We learned from those who played at Gamescom that when you pick up a player's gun in Arena, you can keep it and its ammo until you die with it. If that was intended, can we expect a way to bring that gun and ammo to the base game if you survive with it in Arena? That's a big question, because if you kill somebody that happened to have looted a super chonky kit in Arena and you're like level 10, and then you go and you use that to go and level up in the base game, that's significant. And this is something that we like to have clarified, but I think Nikita did answer this. I think Torky, what's up, man? Torky with the raid. We did want to do a VoD. This is all right. So this is just like a short thing, like a short VoD that we're gonna put on the second channel, my second channel. Torky, really appreciate you, dude. Thank you. USEC Microwave, indeed. I did send a DM to Nikita with the will, which might have popped up because we've had some couple subs. We might have that play. Torky, really appreciate you, man. Thank you guys, all the viewers that are coming over for Torky's stream. What we're doing right now, oh, we got another raid. This is a lot, guys. Okay, I'm going to have to edit this a bit because I don't want this stuff popping up on stream. This is actually kind of like a pinpoint specific important. We're just doing like a quick Q&A of going through everybody's questions, and I have to narrow down. We'll do a TLDR here. I have to narrow down the questions. So this is the list of questions that I sent to BSG, and I'll move it over here because that stuff is popping up. Appreciate all the follows, guys. I don't know if, again, we're gonna turn this off. Do not follow. Definitely don't sub. Appreciate the raids. Also, Jake and B, thank you guys, and Torky, thank you for the raid. And there's hype train, of course, going on, guys. This is supposed to be like an important, like a quick VOD kind of deal. Appreciate you guys. Don't follow, don't sub. Just be in chat if you guys want to, and I'll try and get to what I can. So that we can get through this as quickly as possible. Thank you guys. Okay, where was I? Again, TLDR, Nikita and BSG want less questions. So we have to narrow these down, and this is what I've asked. I'm going to try and get what I can from the base game questions. So yeah, those were the Arena ones, losing kits on death. Okay, so when it comes to losing kits on death, Nikita specifically said you will lose your kit on death in Arena, but we have word from people that played at Gamescom that wasn't the case. You would keep the same loadout throughout the entire game. And then even if you picked up another loadout from somebody that you killed, once you died with that loadout, you would go back to the loadout that you picked originally, the one that you picked for your game of Arena. And then if you died at any point, there was nobody that played at a Gamescom from what I can tell, nobody at Gamescom had a flawless game where they didn't die. But then you lost your loadout at the end of the game. It's pretty much how you would expect it to go, but you did not lose your loadout and then have to rebuy it every single round, like some people thought you would when Nikita answered that question with the open Q&A. Again, if we need to cut questions, I'm just going to cut the Arena questions because we are going to have the answers in a couple months anyway. A lot of the features in some locations that were planned for the game years ago are now being talked about as DLCs. Will these all be paid DLCs, or will some be free content updates? This is something that I'm thinking about cutting because I feel like if they were going to make the specific clarification about whether something would be a paid or a free DLC, they would have already said it. Like, I think they already said, I'm pretty sure they already said the clan DLC is going to be free. The winter, like the advanced weather stuff, is going to be free. The maps are going to be free. But then when you like think about it, what's going to be the paid DLC? We're assuming there's going to be paid DLCs. So if there was going to be anything that's paid, it would probably be the map packs. But then how would like playing the quests and stuff involved with those new maps, which is going to be town and suburbs, because for some reason they're still in the game, but town and suburbs are both confirmed to be a DLC. They're not going to be in the game at release. So what's going on with that? Is this still part of the plan to have open world at full release, or you'll be looking to move to a DLC? Are you still looking at map-to-map travel with loading screens as a possible placeholder for open world? Nikita specifically talked about this in the open Q&A. They're having trouble getting it to open world specifically, but then he also said it's not supposed to be an open world game. This is just something that they want. This is where he went into the quote talking about survival and stuff. Also, as we're talking about this is off the top of my head, which I'm usually right about this stuff, but Clown Guy might make an appearance at some point. If you guys notice something specific, make sure to yell at me in chat. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep rocking. This is something with the open world. This is something that they're struggling with, and this is why they also brought up they're going to lower the detail on streets and other maps. If open world isn't something that they're going to be able to do, they might make a DLC. They might make it map-to-map travel. I think that map-to-map, at the bare minimum, map-to-map travel is going to be able to be. It's going to be something that they're going to be able to do because there's just going to be loading screens. It's going to work almost exactly how it works right now. And then if you go to a specific extract, let's say you're on streets and you go to an extract that you know is going to bring you to what would be right next to it. If you go to an extract that you know is going to be interchange or woods, then you would just go to that extract, you would leave, you'd have a loading screen, and then you'd be on woods. You would leave, you'd have a loading screen, then you'd be on factory. You'd leave, you have a loading screen, then you go to customs. But it would depend on what extract you go to or what train you take. If the train's going to be there, so reserve to what would it be? Lighthouse or whatever, depending on the train. So good to have clarification on that. This is going to be tough to pick these. I'd really like to know that, but there are more important questions in my mind. Is it still part of the plan to have open world at full release, or will you? Oh, wait, what did I just do there? No, I think I just combined those two. So yeah, just did that one. Do you still consider Unity 21 and the new matchmaker as something that will be finished for the December white patch? This is something that if you guys haven't seen, which I don't know if I have it open already, if you check out the last roadmap, this is something that popped up and that finished before the next wipe. So I think in their mind, this is something that should be done for the next patch, but you know, we've heard that before. So it could be something that makes it into the next patch. It could not be. I'm looking through my downloads right now. I'm trying to find. I thought I had this roadmap. Where is it? Thought I just downloaded it. I guess not. A lot of this stuff looks the same with the ARRS stuff. Anyway, you guys have seen it. You know what the most previous roadmap looks like. No, it's kind of important actually. Fuck it, I'll bring it up. Boop boop boop. It'd be good to have anyway on this screen. We have to go back a while. Here it is. All right, downloads. Boop. All right, so this is what we're talking about. Unity 21 ends before the next wipe. New matchmaker ends before the next wipe. That's what I was talking about. What is the task for the new close? I don't know. We're not talking about that right now. See if Logical has it. See if our Discord has it. Actually, you know what? From all that I saw from Logical was that the quests were there. If you go to our Discord and you go to the forum posts where people have been answering it, also just the EFT chat, people have been tracking that. Sons of Soon have been tracking all that stuff. If I had to guess, though, it's going to be involved with killing the rogue bosses, or the goons squad, because it was Knights. It's Knights like upper torso, or what? It's his torso clothing stuff. So yeah. Anyway, do you still consider Unity 21 and the new matchmaker as something that will be finished for the December white patch? I kind of want to keep that. We'll see how that goes. Also, for those that don't know your views on the subject, is the new matchmaker for the base game skill-based matchmaking or any kind of level or gear-based matchmaking? It's a hard no. I know for a fact it's a no. A lot of people that don't understand BSG's, point of view on that stuff doesn't understand it. I'm just removing that now because anybody that's been following BSG for any length of time ever knows that that's a no. Yes, they're adding skill-based matchmaking in Arena, but they're not going to do it. And Nikita even said that at some point in the open Q&A. I just felt like adding it because we could just get a more direct answer so that, for the history books that people know it's not going to come to the base game. Is Streets of Tarkov third iteration as shown on the roadmap now delayed until release? I'm pretty sure that's a confident yes because Nikita pretty much directly answered it that way. All Streets expansions are delayed until after release. He said that word for word for the open Q&A. So I just want a clarification, but I'm removing that. Tarkov API update. Sorry, Logical. Again, Logical asked about this specifically, and I would also like to know about that because that's actually pretty huge. Nikita did answer that during the open Q&A. He said that they're still working on it. It'd be nice to get an update. It'd be nice to know about it, but they did say it in the open Q&A, and because we need to remove questions, I'm going to remove it here as well. Can you add key cards and keys back into the wallets and docs cases that we found in the mark rooms? We'll keep that for now because I would also like that. That's pretty big. Do you still consider Unity 21 and the matchmaker as something that will be finished in the December white patch? I know we already talked about that, but I'm going to remove that because I think what we can do is sort of like merge it into other questions and hopefully get an answer for that. Because of like how the advanced stuff. How should I word this? Depending on how they answer a couple of the other questions when it comes to tech, we might kind of like understand whether or not Unity 21 is coming, because it's going to also involve the tech. So we'll revisit that. New PMC clothing coming. I'm also just going to say that's a yes. I think that was Walker that asked that question. I'm just going to assume it's a yes. They always say yes to that stuff. It's always coming. They're always working on it, and they even added a bunch today. We didn't notice any plans for audio on the roadmap. What's the current plans? I feel like this is just going to be one of those ones that they just shovel out the door and they just say yes. They're constantly working on that stuff. So that's why I don't want to add it into this when there's more important, more specific questions that we can ask. So I'm going to remove it. On the audio side of things, I think Tweak asked about audio. I'd love to know about it too, man, but it's like, it's just going to be one of those things that they just say, yes, we're constantly working on it. If we think that we can find room, because this is another, we still probably have like 38 to 40 questions that we still want to narrow down here. So we'll see if we can weave it into something else. Oh, we're going back into the arena stuff now. You know what? For this list, I'm going to remove a bunch of the arena stuff because I talked about it before. If you guys want to know what's going on, go back in the VoD. Also, this is going to be posted to the second channel at some point later. We kind of already know that a lot of these arena questions, we kind of already know. This will answer most of it. Like that's arena. I think Nikita kind of already answered that one. I think we'll get an answer from this one. I'll keep one or two arena questions. This is probably a yes. This is probably a yes, and we kind of already know it, but we just want a clarification. And this is, all right, so we're going to keep one arena question, and then we'll continue from there. Can you add key cards and keys back into the wallets and dock cases that we find in Mark Room? Keep that for now. Is the BTR on Street still planned for the December patch? We'll see what's going on with that. We'll keep that for now. Do you still plan to make it so that you can't ADS with full face shields unless you have a special stock? I think that this is pretty important. Let me know what you guys think. One's for keep that. Two's for get rid of it in terms of ADS with full face shields, because that's pretty significant game-changing change. And we haven't heard anything about it. So one to keep, two to get rid of. Can we have the ability to lock items in the stash so that you don't move when you sort? That includes more than just cases, so you know. This is something that I can just straight up tell Nikita. This doesn't need to be something that can be answered. I don't think we need to add this. And I think they even said this is something that they're working on with the open Q&A. So just to understand, in case you guys don't know what's going on with this, we've all reorganized our stash. We've all, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm blanking on the word, but you know, people want the ability, myself included, I think this is everybody, to just lock items so that they don't get included with that button click, so that they don't get messed up. I think this is something that I can just straight up ask Nikita, and I think it's also something that they've said that they're working on. So yeah, gonna remove that. Do you plan to add a system around adrenaline? This is also something important. I'm gonna keep this for now. This is, so example, if you get shot, you have 10 seconds to move normally before the pain actually kicks in. This is something that people have been asking about forever, and we haven't gotten a clear answer on it. And this is something I'd like as well, so we're going to keep it for now. Do you still plan to... All right, got that. Nikita mentioned lowering the detail on streets and some other locations in order to get them to run better. What are some examples and how you would do that? Would you remove buildings? They kind of already gave examples. Anybody that understands game design and cutting for release, cutting level detail and stuff like that, know that that's the case. They're going to clean up. They'll get rid of the trash. They'll get rid of things on shelves. I don't think that they'll remove buildings. Maybe they'll remove them, and if they do, it's useless buildings. They're not anything significant. As we've already come to know, several of the new buildings on streets are pretty much empty. They don't actually need to be there. So we'll see. I'm going to remove that. I think that's kind of obvious when you think about it. They're going to clean up the streets, literally, with debris and stuff like that. And worst case scenario, they'll remove some buildings that don't need to be there anyway. Binoculars come to the game. This is kind of something I can just kind of ask Nikita. We'll leave that. It'd be cool. They're kind of already said that with like more advanced rangefinders and stuff like that. What's the status on radios? Gonna keep that. I think that's interesting. If you guys don't know anything about that, go to my main channel and then just search radios. I've done a couple of videos talking about why that could be interesting and why that's important. New in-raid ammo loading animation so that we don't just see our inventory. We need to cut questions. It was in the most recent, or it was in the second to last roadmap, as I mentioned there in the question itself. So they're clearly working on it. It's something that's coming. Hopefully we see it in the new patch, but it doesn't need to be answered right now, and we have more important questions to ask. Still plans to add a clan DLC when a clash with a clan stash and leaderboard. This is something that's actually worth answering because they were thinking about removing it because, more specifically, the clan stash because of like what's it called? The people buying stuff. What's the word? RMT, because of RMT. And it's not anything that's coming soon. So as much as I'd like to know, it's something that we're going to need to remove for now. Status on lockpicking and breaking open doors as well as flash and clear. We're going to keep that for now. I'd really like an answer on that. Can we have the ability to look down iron sights when a side-mounted optic is attached like IRL? Somebody asked this in the Twitter, I think, so we're going to see that in a minute. I don't see it as important. It'd be nice. I feel, and not necessarily that I see it as important, just important to ask it now and to get an answer for this now, because I just feel like this is something that they're going to do. They're gonna add that. I really feel like that's something that they're gonna add with all the different little side mounts and optics and canted and all that BS that you can do. I really feel like this is something that they'll add. Did we ever hear about those destructible walls, floors, and stuff like that? No, we haven't heard about that. We also know it's associated with the performance of Streets, which is the only map that have it at the moment. So assuming if they're going to be cutting things for performance on Streets, I'm not going to ask that question. I actually didn't even include it in this one because if they need performance on Streets and this is something that affects the performance, it's obvious they're not going to have that. And I can practically guarantee that that's going to be the answer that they will have. Really cool feature would be something interesting, but there's more important stuff to get answers for right now. Nikita mentioned in a live stream before the wipe that the scope and rail attachment feature was cut. Is this true? Will we not be able to move attachments where we want on rails? Gonna keep that for now. I just really like it. I would just really like for that to be a thing, you know? So I kind of want a clear answer on that. It's also something that I can just directly ask Nikita at any point. It doesn't need to like go through the PR guys and stuff like that. So we'll keep it for now and we'll see what we end up with. Will the vests and rigs that hold plates have durability? Not that important. Would be nice to know. So obviously the armor plates are going to have durability. I would have asked also because anybody that's seen armor plates that are in rigs get shot up. Just go watch a Demolition Ranch or a more recently with Granddaddy there, Grand Thumb. When you shoot armor plates, because of the spalling that comes off when the rounds get completely decimated by the armor plate, it's shrapnel and spalling that will go and it'll cut it out. Eventually, when you get shot up enough, it will cut it out of the rig itself. So I'm wondering if there's going to be durability on those rigs. I don't think this is something that they'll add. Maybe they'll add it. Not super important answer or question, so I'm going to cut it. Nikita said during the Gamescom Q&A that you want to make the medical system more simple. Does that mean the unconscious state was cut? Absolutely keeping that. Super important. I'd really like an answer to that. If the unconscious state is cut, does that also mean body dragging was cut? Part of it's something that we can cut. Would really like to be able to move bodies, and then also if your buddy is down, you want to be able to move them to cover. But maybe if they answer the unconscious state one, maybe they'll also answer that too. But I'm going to cut it for now. I just really want to know what's going on with the unconscious state. Since you plan to still add addiction, overdose, and tolerance to painkillers, do you also want to plan to add a way for players to eventually overcome the problems, even if it's just time-based? Really important one there. A lot of people read at addiction, overdose, and tolerance, even though it's been a part of the plan for literally years. So it'd be nice to have some kind of thing that says, hey, we're doing this because we are Escape from Tarkov. We're going to do this hardcore stuff that we've been planning to do with the overdose and addiction. But hey, if you take these pills or if you wait this amount of time without taking any painkillers, then you'll kind of ease out of it. I did want to ask about permadeath along with this, but they said that radiation was going to be something that's going to be added after release. So since radiation was the key part of permadeath, and this is something that you would have to you would stick with, although addiction and overdose and tolerance is tied into permadeath, radiation was like the main thing there. Like if you really weren't careful with radiation, then it would lead to your character having lasting effects that would lead to permadeath. So since radiation is post-launch, I'm also assuming that anything involving permadeath will also be post-launch, so I'm not asking about it. Hopefully that makes sense. Merge the med system and dragon body question. No, because they're really being sticklers for like way less questions here. So that's why I'm also gonna try and cut. You see how a couple of these are kind of like 2 questions? I'm gonna also cut some of those. You know what I mean? Yeah, Moldy, there's a lot. There's a lot. What's up, by the way? If you read this, what happened to the new engine update? It's the 21 is still part of the plan. We were just discussing that, and I'm actually asking about it. So Unity 21 is supposed to be finished before the next wipe, along with the new matchmaker, and that's actually one of the questions that I'm asking. Nikita said during the Gamescom Q&A, okay, you already got that. So that was addiction overdose and stuff like that. Nikita said the new player zone could get up to level 20. From what I can see inside the community, we feel the absolute maximum would need to be level 15 or whatever is the level that you gain access to the flea market at release. The difference between a player with and without the flea market is night and day in game. This feels like such an obvious thing that I don't want to ask it. I think Nikita just misspoke. There's no way that a new player zone that's dedicated to new players is going to involve the flea. Am I insane in thinking that, or does that seem just obvious to anybody else? I really feel like there's no way if it's a new player zone, it would also include people that have the flea market. Whether it be several levels below gaining access to the flea market, or just when you gain the flea market and then you can't get in. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I really want to cut that because I feel like it's so obvious. A lot of people had no idea about Russia 2028, so there was a lot of confusion around Nikita saying our new game during the Gamescom Q&A. Is the new game he's talking about Russia 2028 and is already in production in order to have the date make sense? Or are you changing the name? I'm going to remove this because I'm going to make a video about that later. We actually already found reason to believe that BSG are already in production for Russia 2028. Not confirmed, but they did file some new stuff back in 2018, which could have been something that it was filed in 2018. As far as we know, Russia 2028 is happening. So because Russia 2028 is happening, and it's always been part of the plan to come after Escape from Tarkov, and because Nikita just recently mentioned it in the open Q&A as a survival game, even though without directly mentioning it in the same sentence as Russia 2028, and because Russia 2028 is a survival game, we're going to connect the dots. We're going to say it's Russia 2028 without having to waste a question here. All right. We got the new player zone. We are anxious to know exactly what's happening with PMC Karma. Is it coming to the game? PMC Karma question, we're keeping that for sure. Will the books that we can find in game and read only be crafting, or will it help in other ways too? Definitely crafting. Would be cool if they do some other stuff. Doesn't need to take up a question slot here when they want less questions. And I think it might even come. Does that come in the next patch? I think Nikita. Let me correct me if I'm wrong. I think Nikita said it in the open Q&A that it's coming in December. I mean, it's kind of already in the game too. We need books for some crafts, even though you don't like use up the book. Actually, do you use up the book? I don't know. It's kind of already a thing, and it's not super important compared to the other questions that we're trying to get answered here. Will achievements be something that you can do multiple times a wipe? Achievements are going to be a thing, assuming it's going to be something that you can do once a wipe. It'll be cool if you could do it more. It'd be nuts if you can only do it once per account, but maybe that's because they're adding it after full release. That's a thing that you can only do once. But when you think about it, achievements that you could do in Steam, in most games, you only do it once, and you only get like a reward for doing it once. So it kind of makes sense. Not something that is extremely important. Would be nice to have an answer, but we're trying to cut it. We're trying to cut questions here. So we're cutting it. Nikita mentioned safe zones in open world and player hubs. Is this something still decided on, or will they be a thing in game? Excuse me, at some point for sure. This was also something that Nikita talked about in the open Q&A. It's something that they would like to have, but it's based on performance. So I'm going to chalk this up to there's going to be player hubs and there's going to be safe zones if they can figure out open world. Potentially, even if they just have some more traders in game, which he said that they are going to have more traders in game, specifically referencing Lightkeeper. The question was, are there going to be more traders like Lightkeeper where they're in game? And Nikita said yes, and this was from the open Q&A. He structured that very tactically. If you go back and you watch the VoD from that, he was very tactical with how he answered that. I I think we have enough of an answer with that one. We're gonna cut that one. So what do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have 16. Radios are cool, but I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna cut that question. Also, they said they've been working on that for a while, so I think that I guess the point would be we don't, as long as we know it's something that they've been working on, then we know it's something that they've been working on. We want to know about the stuff that's been cut. There's a bunch of stuff that we think's been cut, we really want some details on. Radio, it sounds like it's a pretty advanced feature that they've been working on for a long time, even though it's not in the roadmap. I think it's still something that's going to show up in some way, shape, or form. And even if it does, it's not going to be crazy. Like, it'd be really cool to have. And if you guys don't know what's going on with radios, go to my main channel and search for radio. Just say radio, and it should be in a title somewhere on a specific video where I talk about the advanced features that they're going to do with radios, which when you first think about it, you think, oh, I'm in Discord with my friends. Why do I need that? No, it's for tracking players and for tracking AI, because they are going to also be needing to use radios. And it's also ways, if they add karma, for you to team up with others without being in Discord with them. It's actually kind of important. It really is important. But since they've been working on it a long time, I'm going to just assume it's still coming. Is the BTR on Street still planned for the December patch? I think if they're having issues with getting the performance correct on Streets, then that's a no for the BTR. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that. One for keep, 2 for cut on the BTR. What's the question about keycards? I just wanted to ask them if they can add it to docs cases and wallets. 1 for keep, 2 for cut on BTR. They should add the really tiny ones. What are we talking about? I think that's going to be one of the game. They don't have time for it. Time depends on what, it's all based on priority. I cut binoculars. I mean, we got to think about what's important here. I'm really trying to get some good answers here. I really want them to get to this stuff. So I cut binoculars. We kind of already have it with the rangefinder, and we're kind of assuming that they're already going to add binoculars with just more advanced rangefinders. Release isn't confirmed yet. They haven't confirmed a release. I'm speculating that they're going to aim for the end of next year. Whether they hit it or not. Like in my mind, there's a board. There's a whiteboard, or there's something somewhere in the BSG studio that says Q4 2024 or Q1 2025 or whatever as their goal for full release. Nothing confirmed. This is just, this is tinfoil hat speculation stuff. That's my speculation, because they're talking about it too much. They're really making cuts. And to be honest, other than I'll make this simple to understand. It's like what we have left that we know is coming is not that much. It's performance stuff that obviously it's going to be difficult to figure out, but it's like final stage stuff, like getting your game to run better. And then it's like what would it be? It's like sprinkles on top kind of stuff with what we know is definitely coming. But with these questions, we're going to have those answers for real. We're going to know, like, we haven't even seen what's going on with the unconscious state. Like, unconscious state is going to be a pretty significant feature, and that will take a lot of work. If they add launchers, they might cut launchers too. I don't know what's going on with that. They haven't been super specific about launchers, which if they've cut launchers and they want to move it to DLC, then that's their prerogative. But yeah, they really got a ton of performance optimizations to make it perform, which is why they're talking about cutting level of detail on Streets and other maps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to cut BTR. It'd be really cool, but I'm going to cut it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're at 14. If we get a new roadmap, it'd be really cool, but we don't need to take up a spot. Okay. Really would like an answer for that. That's Arena. Games Years talked about DLCs. If they want to talk about it, they can. I don't think they're really worried about DLCs at the moment. They better fucking tell us what's paid and what's not paid, though. That's pretty important. Can you add key cards? Gonna keep. Can you add key cards and keys back into wallets? ADS with face shield. That's pretty significant. Do you plan to add a system around adrenaline? We really like to have an answer on that. Status on lockpicking and breaking open doors. Would really like to have an answer on that. New balancing changes, mechanics, armor movement, like we did with recoil. Would really like to have input on this stuff for December. So this is, will we get to see or give input on the new balancing changes to mechanics of armor, damage, movement, like we did with the recoil rework of December wipe. So we're getting the recoil rework and we're getting balancing changes to mechanics of armor, damage, and movement in the December wipe. They showed us the recoil rework. A lot of people read, but a lot of people didn't understand that that was them not touching their mouse. So there's going to be some mouse input involved, and generally speaking, I think it'll end up being okay. I think it'll end up being okay when you actually, use your hand to try and negate the recoil and you figure it out. Still would be nice to have on ETS and stuff like that. Oh, that's one of the other questions that have popped up from Twitter and stuff. People were asking stuff like, will such and such end up on the ETS? They're not going to tell us. They can't talk about the ETS. They're not going to give us any hints. If it shows up on the ETS, if you have access to the ETS, then you're going to be able to get to use it. Hopefully it's as much as possible, but at the same time, this was an argument that I had with a couple of other content creators recently. We are in a testing environment. The stuff that pops up in ETS is only the stuff that they value a smaller pool of testers. So if they want something, a specific smaller pool, but not so small that they can't test it internally with just BSG, if they need thousands of people, then they'll go to ETS. If they don't necessarily need thousands of people, then they'll just put it up to the open version of the game because we're still in a testing environment. So there's a lot of people that will saying this is broken, such and such is wrong and stuff like that. And generally speaking, it's okay to do that because we're still in a testing environment. They're calling it beta, but they shouldn't call it beta. It's still in development. But they're calling it beta and using it as just an open early access development environment. So anyway, yes, I would like to see it on the ETS. Yes, I would like to see what they're thinking. But it's completely within their rights or whatever. Rights is the wrong word. So lack of a better word, rights to just send it to the open version of the game, which they'll probably end up doing. So we'll see what's going on with that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 questions. If they want 10, they shouldn't. If they want 10, I'll get rid of lockpicking. And I'll get rid of key cards. Yeah, if they want 10, I'll get rid of lockpicking and I'll get rid of key cards. So final setup down from 44 is Nikita referred to skills as locked in ranked mode. Does that mean that they won't level or that you can only level them so high? Does it mean if you have higher strength or endurance, it will reduce them, or lower, it will raise them to make it fair? That is very specific on what the fuck is going on with the ranked modes and the stuff that was going on with arena stuff. Is it still part of the plan to have open world at full release, or will you be looking to move that to DLC? Are you still looking at map-to-map travel with loading screens as a possible placeholder for open world? Can you add keycards and keys back to wallets and dock cases and marked rooms? Potentially cut, depends on what they say. Do you still plan to make it so that you can't ADS with face shields unless you have a special stock? I think they showed that special stock at some points during a Tarkov TV, or maybe it was a Nikki leak. So I think it's a yes, but I'd very much like to see that pop up. So I want an answer for that. Do you plan to add a system around adrenaline? Example, if you get shot, you have 10 seconds to move normally before the pain actually kicks in. A lot of people asked about that. I would also like an answer about that. And honestly, it makes sense. Like, it just makes sense. Wait, not key card? Why wouldn't we want key cards? Status on lockpicking. Really like to know about that stuff. Will we get to see or give input on new balance changes to mechanics of armor, damage, movement? Important question there. We just discussed that before I went down this last TLDR. Nikita mentioned in a live stream before the wipe that the scope and rail attachment feature was cut. Is this true? Will we not be able to move attachments where we want on rails? If that is true, does that mean the full weapon customization array tools is also cut? Pretty important there. Nobody's asked about it. Would like to know what's going on with that. Nikita said during the Gamescom Q&A that you want to make the medical system more simple. Does that mean the unconscious state was cut? Very important there, keeping that. Since you plan to still add addiction, overdose, and tolerance, all right, blah, blah, blah. Can we fix that if it's just time-based? You guys know what that one. We covered that before. Keeping that. Nikita said the new player zone could get up to level 20. That's shouldn't do that. Hopefully they answer that one. We are anxious to know exactly what's happening with PMC Karma. PMC Karma question. All right. That's the list. I'm going to send that as the revised list. They really should answer that. Those are pretty clear. Hopefully they do. All right. Gonna run through chat real quick. Most changes never go to ETS anyway. Yeah, they really don't. Not that I would know, because I can't talk about the ETS. ETS was necessary because beta testers are little bitches and believe this is a fish game. All right, I wouldn't go that far. Kind of true, but I wouldn't go that far. Anything around bugs? They're working on it. Is it Baby Cow? Have you played today? Because they put a bunch of fixes through today. God, Nikita did bite you with that one. With that, well, yeah, he did. It's contagious. The will we be amount of scav rep loss. Good scavs. Bing bong. They're gonna bing bong. They're gonna attempt a kind of fix of that with scav wars. So they're going to add a feature where at certain times of the day or week or whatever, there's going to be an open scav war where you will not lose scav karma for killing other scavs. And then it's going to go back to, at certain points, it'll go back to what it is now. So they might include that with that. Otherwise, you need to watch out, and it's something that they're working on over time. No matter what, EOD owners won't have to pay anything extra, right? Correct. If it's considered DLC. I'm not saying BSG are going to do this, but I have seen pretty much every single game studio ever have been very strategic with what they call upcoming patches. I don't think that this is something BSG will do. I think they'll be very clear with what's going on with it. But they still need to make money after release. So we'll see what they end up doing with it. If there's going to be something that has already been talked about in the game, I find it very unlikely that if you own EOD, then you won't have to pay more for it. You know what I mean? So because they made Suburbs and Town DLC, and because they made what's something else that they shipped the DLC? Oh no, that's enough of an example. So because they shifted Suburbs and Town as DLC, whatever they end up doing with that, even if it is paid, EOD, I'm speaking for myself, but that really should be something that EOD gets for free. And off the top of my head, I know that there's like the Advanced Weather and Snow that's going to be free to EOD. There's the Scav Life DLC that's going to be free to EOD, as explained in the past, where it's like you get like the Scav Stash and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch. I get 100 FPS on Streets. You have to have a badass PC, but they're going to work on it. They're working on it. Are you still looking for an arena question? No, we're going to try and cut out as many arena questions as possible. If they come back and they're like, no, more arena questions, then I'll have some to ask. But we're going to know about arena in less than 4 months. In 4 months or less, we're going to be playing it, and we're going to have those answers. I'd like to know the other stuff beyond that. I think we need more scav lore with fence. There should be more coming with that. We got the Scav Karma, the Scav Wars and stuff, and the Scav Life. What I mean. Okay. I'll try and go through this. There's Torquay. Use like microwave. One peg. When will Tarkov officially be declared? We got the Dark and Darker main. We got the new Dark and Darker main. Wondering about the dead game. Also, love you, One Peg. That's not a drama thing. Yeah, who knows? Hopefully, not anytime soon. We'll find out. What's the audio plan next wipe? You know what? I'm going to put, I would like to know about audio as well. So I'm going to, because I actually potentially I might I might remove. Where's the one about attachments? This one. Depends on what they want. I might remove the one about attachments. I would really like that as a thing. If you have the right tools, let's just fully mod our guns. But I'll add tweaks back in because I'd like to. A lot of people want to know about audio, which you'll see in a second. Because they weren't really clear with that either. They did not put that in the there's nothing about audio in here from what I can tell. Various technical and functional adjustments, which is probably including audio, but it doesn't say audio. I mean, yeah, this is the patch, which, yeah, they did some audio stuff, but yeah, none of that's specific to audio. You'll be surprised, Mirko. There's going to be some stuff that pops up probably. EFT API. I'd really like to add that, but he kind of answered it during the open Q&A. Okay, I'll put that as also something potentially removed. I'll do like the lines API so you guys can see it. This is what I did there. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. Expect more PMC clothing. Sorry, Walker, cut that one. They did add more today. And it's always just a yes. They always just say yes. There's always going to be more coming. Keycard question and for dock spaces and wallets. That was Airwings. Included that. Is BSG considering implementing a skeleton key? I said yes to this one where I liked it. Anything that I like, I say I included because it came with the lockpicking question, which I have removed. No, it's a potentially removed. So potentially removed. That's this one. Can you see that one? That's where'd I go? This one right there. Okay. Cheating discussion is all that I know is a genuine question. All right. A lot of people are obviously asking about cheating. And here's the thing with that. The latest update that we have is that BSG met with several anti-cheat providers at Gamescom. Every single time that any of us ask about it, we either get ghosted or they say the exact same thing, which is we can't talk about it, which after having some more discussions about it makes sense. So the more information, any bit of information that the cheat developers, so the bad guys, have on when or how or what they're dealing with in terms of anti-cheat is just going to help them. Would I like to know what they're doing? Yes. Are they going to do that? Probably not. They're obviously doing something. Every time you see Nikita's face whenever we talk about it, it's clear that it's bugging them. He talked about it in the open Q&A. They are... sorry if that just blew up the mic a little bit there. I just got a little bit of that. My bad, guys. Got some audio issues. They are on top of it. They're doing what they can. My take on it is they're always going to be a problem. They're doing as much as they can. They're fighting the good fight. But if massive companies with practically unlimited budgets like Activision with Call of Duty deal with cheaters constantly, then BSG are going to deal with cheaters constantly. Unless they figure out, even with the AI thing, and I made a video talking about this recently, even if it's AI, they're just going to find a better AI. Like the cheat developers are just going to find another AI, and then the AI are going to be fighting. It's just going to be a constant thing. I don't see an end to it. So they're fighting the good fight. They're always going to be doing the best that they can. And if it's something that you can't deal with, then I can see that. I understand that. Good luck finding a single player game, which might be Russia 2028, that gets you the same vibes as Tarkov. Will there ever be a solo queue? I know for a fact they will never do this. They are never going to do a solo queue, and they're never going to do skill-based matchmaking or gear-based matchmaking or ruble-based matchmaking on your loadout in the base game. They're just not. And Nikita even answered that during the open Q&A. Will we ever get the chance to have an audio slider for VoIP like DayZ where you could whisper? I think I added that as a question, but I ended up removing it. It'd be cool, and I feel like if they were going to do it, they would have already done it. Sorry, Garlem. We'll see. We're looking to cut questions here, so we ended up cutting that one. Vaulting system is going to be in the next patch. Will they reduce the volume of sounds like aiming and micro sounds? They've already did something similar to that with the headphone update. So wherever they have it right now, sure, maybe it's something that they might revisit in the future. But they actually just, if you guys remember, I forget if it was this wipe or like a patch around June or something like that. You guys remember when they changed how headsets work? they did something with that. So wherever they are right now is kind of where they want it. Well, the BTR, I'm going to cut that question. Hopefully it does show up. We'll see. Lock item positions. I did ask about that. I might have cut it. They've talked about it and they know about it. They know a lot of people want it. Hopefully it's something that they add, but it is something that I cut. Will jumping and getting nerfed after animations are completed? Please say yes. Don't know what's going on with that one. Again, this is something that they're constantly keeping track of. And they are, actually, this was why I didn't include this one. They are, where is this? Oh, this is another one. Oops. That was a thing for BattleBit. They are doing this. Where is it? Mechanics of armor, damage, and movement. So balancing changes. Oh, can you guys not see that? Movement. Balancing changes to mechanics of armor, damage, and movement. So yeah, probably included in that. This is a bunch of stuff. This is a PvP main that's asking for a bunch of PvP changes and RMT and stuff. And just like Typhlosion says here, it's just not going to be Tarkov. It's just they're not doing that stuff. When will they remove the new shitty PK effect? Again, if they added it for a reason. It sounds like in Arena it's going to be like lessened. It seems like a bit easier to understand in Arena or to navigate in Arena. It doesn't look like they're going to do it for the base game. How do you plan to implement something like PMC Karma? Asked about PMC Karma. Are they consider having some low ping cluster servers? They're constantly dealing with issues with servers. Every single time that somebody asks about it, they don't really have an answer. This was in the open Q&A, and I know for a fact they'll give us the same answer. It's just sometimes it's just not worth it going to the more scarce player regions of the world to find the servers that you can find because they're either so insanely expensive, they're so insanely bad, or they're insanely bad, insanely expensive servers. So BSG just don't do it, and that's just the reality. Can we get more sensitivity options for scope zooms? They talked about this and they said this was something that was cut. I included that into the attachment thing, which I might end up cutting. So we'll see if they answer that. I'm worried about the progression in EFT versus Arena. We'll find out in a couple months, and it's also something that they'll balance over time. I'm worried about it too. Can you please ask them if they add cookies as a consumable? Ridiculous question. Hopefully, I mean, hey, I'd like some cookies, but you know, sorry, man, not adding it. Will the EFT base ever realistically see stealth implemented as a viable way to play? I feel like this is something that they're just constantly working on. It's not a priority. Stealth isn't a priority, but they are going to mess with movement. The ability to silently do something, if we're going as slow as possible, like when you turn and you do the scroll wheel all the way down for all your movements and everything, the ability to do that silently has been something that we've been like to crouch or to ADS. Of all things, ADS, it doesn't make any noise, Akita. Why do we make noise when we ADS? This is something that we've been asking about for years. Hopefully they'll get the picture with the upcoming update when the movement changes and stuff like that. They change the balances and stuff like that. That's coming in December. To the question, say, what are you going to open world? Yeah, we asked about open world. Are they planning to change the new painkiller effect again? If they want to, they will. It seems like it's in the game for a reason. My biggest and only real question, will the task of killing Rashala and the 3 cards become a single task? They're going to change up tasks. They even changed up a couple of tasks today. That was today's question. So again, exclamation point YouTube if you guys want to check out what changed today. Patch notes are in that video. But there's a lot of balancing stuff that's coming with tasks later down the line. And then also, it won't be something that we'll necessarily be needing to focus on when the game fully releases because we're going to have like the story quests. Question from chat. Have you read and answered to my question here on Twitch? Sorry, I forget. I recognize your name. I forget if I did or not, dude. I feel like I added it. But there's a lot of fucking questions. Any details on exactly how you will level between Arena and regular Tarkov? We're going to find out in a couple months. And it seems to be 1-for-1. And I asked a similar question regarding rubles. And Nikita did say it's 1-for-1, so I'm expecting the XP to also be 1-for-1. The introduction of random container spawn made the raids a little less predictable. Will this be further expanded to encourage exploration? The one word I found in that one was encourage exploration, and Nikita has talked about that several times as something that he wants. So I do believe that they will expand on it, and there's going to be more coming, especially with the addition of the new tasks and the main storyline tasks. Encouraged exploration is going to be a big deal, and they kind of already did it today with the new task line. So as long as they add new tasks and it's something that nobody's done before, it will help encourage that. Especially with what they've been doing with the more recent tasks and the tasks that are involved around Lightkeeper, where they have several spawns, but there's only one that will spawn per raid. I believe there's more that's coming with that. When DLC are introduced, such as Map Town, will we see these maps having unique quests? I believe there will be unique quests, and just like Arena unique quests, if you don't have Arena, you're not going to have access to those quests. I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen with Town and Suburbs. If you don't have Town and Suburbs, you're just not going to have access to those quests. However, because they're post-launch DLC, I don't think they're going to be involved with the actual progression of the game. It's just going to be something extra. It's something more that you can do. What's next after Tarkov? Russia 2028. We already covered that one. Are there any plans for us to be loading into raid and not have a loading screen? That's the new matchmaker coming in the next patch. And we did ask, hopefully it's in the next patch. I read you mentioned we're in talks with other anti-cheat providers. Just talked about that one there, Foobar. Nikita did admit that they talked to several anti-cheat providers at Gamescom, but they're not going to give details. Everything that they say is something that the cheat developers will be able to use against them. So the less they say, the better. That's the deal with that. When will we be able to, hey, I said that correctly on that one. Lock items in inventory. Asked about that one. Hopefully they do it. A lot of people are asking about that one. They kind of already know about that one. When they will rework the sound of player position in game, or simply change the sound team for a better one, or the sound team. Hopefully not. I mean, what do they have with the sound team as a sound team? That was an audio question. I think I'm, and I'm just gonna, yeah. Tweaks question there. We're just gonna we'll keep the bucket. We'll keep that one, and we'll make the, yeah, we'll keep that one. We'll keep audio updates. We'll actually ask audio updates. What's the new location? If they didn't tell us during the open Q&A, they're not going to tell us now, so I'm not going to include that one. Pretty sure it's Terminal, though. Question from chat. In my opinion, EFT needs a true hardcore mode, TLDR idea, third faction choice, Scav Raider, no butt stash, all that stuff. I believe that's what they're going to do with Russia 2028. Starting to lose my voice now here, guys. Something for another time. It's just something for another discussion. We can be sitting here all day talking about the other stuff. It'd be cool for an option, but then when you think about the economy of how that's going to actually work as a real game mode, maybe it's something that they'll incorporate into the game at release when they do like the prestige mode and stuff like that. I think Nikita's talked about that in the past. If you like go searching for it, it's possible I even covered it in a video. But I don't think it's coming before release. I think that'd be something that they would do after release. Will the Uni 21 update come with the significance perform? Yes, that's part of the really why they're doing it, and then also the netcode stuff that's coming along with it. Is there an effort to make the game run better on new hardware? Yes, of course. And that's exactly how they would answer that if I asked that question. They will say yes, of course. I guarantee they say those exact words all the time. What would that, Mirko? I think you're in chat. I think you said you're in chat. He said it's the. He said streets. The combination of streets and, believe it or not, the custom rig and hitbox feature. He's talked about that a couple times. But recently he really likes Arena. So I think it just curves with whatever they're working on, like the big feature that they're working on at the moment. But because that's kind of like it's kind of, I don't know how to characterize that question. Because we need to cut down questions, I'm leaving that one out. Ask him at Twitter right now and see if he'll answer you. Maybe he will, or maybe no, cause maybe not now. Actually, no, right now they should still even be in the office potentially. So maybe, or reply to one of his tweets and see if he answers that. What is the main focus of the team right now? Optimization, content split evenly. Right now it's Right now the team focus is to get the game to release. They've talked about that in open Q&A, and Nikita even talked about that in my Q&A on my channel from I think 3 or 4 videos ago now, maybe 4 or 5 videos ago now, with my exclusive interview with Nikita. They want the game to be feature complete, the features that they have planned for the game for release, and then obviously they want that to be optimized. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then because the Arena team is separate, that doesn't include it. It's not included in that. Arena team will focus on their own things for Arena, and then the base game base game Tarkov. They really just want to get the game released, I think, at this point. Will the labs area be expanded upon? I don't think so, but with map-to-map travel and how labs is only going to be accessible from streets, factory, and as well as a couple other maps, I think that will add something to it. I think the map expansion that they're going to do is Shoreline, because I think the new map is going to be Terminal, so I think they're going to do something with that. I know they tweaked some tasks in the game, but I'm curious if there's any plans to do any reordering of them. They are going to do task balancing, and I think that's going to be included in that, so that's why I didn't add that question. Can we get a fix for default ammo and etc. so AP20 actually hits? That's the MOA change. What did I do with this? Oh, that's included with the balancing. That's with the weapon balancing and recoil. MOA change. Are there plans, or MOA fix, really? Are there plans for maintenance to be a thing for hideouts? Good question. There's more important questions to ask. I know they're expanding with the hideout. I know they're doing more with the hideout. That's probably going to be one of them. More LMGs. They said the M249 is coming. They said the AEK is coming. I don't know about the Mini-Me, and I don't know about the Negev. Isn't the Negev just the Mini-Me? I know the Negev is IW. I know that's Israeli. But isn't it 7.62, the Negev? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Jamie, pull that up. Jamie, Google that for me. They said the M249 is coming. They said the AEK is coming. We'll see if they add a 7.62 or AK 308 belt fed, a NATO belt fed. Has Nikita mentioned what the feature complete gameplay loop for scabs is going to be? No, that's like kind of that's a lot of the stuff that we're asking about, and that's what I'd love to know. And it's kind of insane that they haven't done that. They've talked about it in the past, but then they said there's a lot of stuff cut. So what's cut? That's what's drilling a hole in my brain right now. Is I'd really like to know what the game is going to look like at release, dude. Negev is 5.56. Oh, I thought that was bigger. Is the Mini-Me 5.56? If the Negev is 5.56 and they added the 249, I doubt they're going to add the Negev. Will they remove the animation of putting juice and water lids back on? There's more important questions to ask. Sorry. How big in terms of percentage is Streets of Tarkov compared to how big it should be for full release? I know the total plan that they had after they released it. Initially, they said it was a quarter of the size that they want it to be. And then after that, I think they said it's roughly a third of the size. But now they're talking about how they're not going to add any more expansions until after release. So we'll see what happens with that. As it is right now, I think it's about a third of the size that they want it. When Tarkov Sec's happening is the real question. I don't know. You're going to have to go find a friend and go check out Camelot. Camelot, or what room is it? What room is it in the new Pinewood? Is it like 304 or 326 or something like that? You're going to have to go find a friend and go figure that out for yourself there. Negev NG7 is 7.62 variant. I thought if we're including a 7.62 variant, I could see them adding a belt fed 7.62 variant, but they've confirmed the 249 and they've confirmed the AAK. Assuming people are playing on their closest server, why is latency still such? Because servers are shit sometimes, and the game's not fully optimized network wise. So hopefully that comes with the December patch. When can we expect changes and results from anti-cheat moving forward? There's constantly changes and constantly results. Actually, I'm not sure why they stopped posting the ban waves, probably because there's so many. I'm going to ask them like what's going on with the, not in this Q&A, because I'll just send a DM and just ask like, hey, how come you're not posting them anymore? I mean, obviously it still takes a bit of extra work to go and get that stuff, but it's still nice to see. They ban loads of people every day. So it's still ongoing. And again, this goes back to the cheater thing that the more that they talk about specifics, the more ammo or the more weapons basically or tools that it gives the people developing the cheats. So I'm all right with it. If you're not, then I don't know what to say. It's such a rough spot right now, and I genuinely just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to do. And as I said before, it's just something that I'm living with. If I don't want to get killed by cheaters, I don't play Tarkov that day. Guys, I'm like level 18 right now. I'm not playing a lot. I'm going to play a lot. Actually, even at level 18, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my account with the launch of Arena, and I want to see exactly how Arena meshes with the base game when Arena launches. Will Customs or Reserve be getting an expansion before or after full release? They haven't talked about that. I'm going to assume technically Yes, because with map to map travel, there's going to be spots that open up. There's going to be pathways that open up, and they have talked about that before. So because they still plan to add open world, and because that's already part of a question that I've already asked, if they end up adding open world, because they're going to have to add those ways to connect the maps, technically, yes, all maps are getting expansions. So that's how I kind of warranted not asking that. Any question or any chance of getting some sort of stash tab to interact with the gun wall inventory a little more easily? If they wanted it to be easier to access the gun wall, I think they would have done it already. Last question for Nikita. Are there any undiscovered map secrets? Anything that they think of as secrets, they're not going to tell us. They've made that part clear. Rio had. Akimbo pistols, when? I haven't heard anything of Akimbo pistols, but they did recently add shotguns as a sidearm. Arena, the plan is Arena this year. Yeah. Yeah, 30%, about 30% with streets right now, according to them. Oops. Dash bay. Okay. Are they ever going to finally correct all the scopes? Technically, the question that I asked with the attachment stuff, but they are working on that stuff. Does the terminal map in the priority list, or at least work in progress? I really think that this is the new map that they're adding. I really do. So we'll find out next patch. Will Nikita ever become a model in the game, character or boss? More important questions to ask. There's more important question to ask. But hey, they are adding a new boss that we don't know anything about, unless it's the cop boss. It's probably the cop boss that we saw with the most recent Chronicles of Rizzy stuff when they had the meeting, or the second to most recent Chronicles of Rizzy episode when they had that meeting. It's probably going to be Kaban's brother. But Nikita said if he was ever going to be out of the game, he'd want to be a bad guy, and that is one of the bad guys, so maybe. I did Terra Group Trail. They said they would be add the extra test. They added it today, actually. Also, anybody that's watching, if you did get those extra 2 stash spaces, they added those today. So make sure you go onto the website, your profile on the website, and go get your 2 extra stash spaces. KO system still in the works. Definitely keeping one of those. That's the unconscious state. That's knockout. This should be a very important question. Why does the game feel like absolute ass on every single map? Again, this is somebody that you're either playing on a really bad PC, or obviously they're still working on it. Best of luck with you in the future there with that one. While playing Arena, if you die early, how long will you be waiting? We saw this. We saw some respawns, and we saw this in the gameplay that they just released, or they released from Gamescom. It's like, depending on the game mode that you're playing, it's going to be respawns. So depending on how long your team stays alive for, and then if they get wiped out by the cleaners, by the AI cleaners, it'll be a couple minutes. So it should be like 15 to 20 minutes max. Depends on the amount of rounds, and depends on like how the team wins, whoever team wins for Arena. They're going to be much faster games than your normal raid for sure. Any chance for Stylish One to be something harder? That'll come with quest balance. I don't see them making Stylish One any harder. That's already really hard, dude. Giggity. If open world becomes a possibility, well, will that be a focus of BG to work on after full release? I did ask that one. Any chance we get top tier pistol ammos back on the traders? That comes with the balance stuff. We'll see what happens with that. I've got 2 questions. Will you be able to transfer rubles from the base game to Arena? We already know yes. And technically, yes, because you're going to be able to use your kits. You're going to use your kit in Arena. I'm assuming yes with the transfer of rubles from the base game, but also you are, in fact, going to be able to transfer rubles from Arena to the base game. If there is no Streets expansion, will the next patch include the new boss and the BTR also cut? We cut BTR. We'll see what's going on with that in the next patch. If they don't end up showing with the next patch, we'll ask that again. Can we expect more XP? Also, we still have 4 months until the next patch, so there's going to be more Q&As. We're going to have at least one Tarkov TV before then. So there's a lot of these questions that I sort of didn't ask because we're probably going to get the answer anyway in the next couple months. I'm really interested primarily on anything audio related, included the audio one. What's the timeline for Unity 21? We kind of already know, asked about it though. Again, Unity 21, any chance of other SCAR models in game? Would be cool. Not a priority question though. So we didn't include it. I would love it if we could ask the question. We were getting loading ammo animations in Raid. I did include that one, but I think I cut it. There's more. So I'm going to remove my like off that one because we cut it. Kill cam when raid completely ends with report system. We know it's coming to Arena, but we don't know if it's going to be out of the base game now. I think that's for security reasons because it could be potentially something that cheat developers use against people for some reason. In the past, when they've said if they can get it in Arena and get it working in Arena, they will move it to the base game. So as far as I know, that's still part of the plan. Is the RSS barter being sold out constantly? Pretty much. People are constantly camping that thing so that they can get the gunsmith quest done. Yes, that's a thing. Just be lucky, forehead. What are the plans for multiple character slots? Also, if you guys don't know about it, sorry for real quick going back to that one. I'm losing my voice. If you guys do the thing where if you filter item and then you go to the flea market and then you filter from the flea market, and as it counts down and then you refresh from the flea market, it does get there sooner. You will be able to buy that item sooner. I don't know if there's a video. Somebody's talked about this before, if it's like a short, if it was like a Twitter thing, or if it was a straight up YouTube video. There's a YouTube video out there that explains it. It's going to be like how to get sold out items faster or something like that. Somebody will have a tutorial somewhere. If someone finds it, DM me on Discord. I'll put it up in the chat right now for those of you guys that are in chat. There's a video for that exists. So go to the flea market, filter item, go to the flea market, refresh from the flea market. It'll be faster. And if you know for a fact it should have refreshed already, exit the flea market, go to a trader, a random trader for the one that you're not looking for, because I think it's Peacekeeper. It's either Peacekeeper or Mechanic that has the RSAS. I think it's Peacekeeper. So like go to like Therapist and then click back to your wish list with the RSAS and then go back there. You should be able to get it quicker. What are the plans for multiple character slots? We're going to know that at release, so I didn't include it. Any plans to reduce the sound effect of rain? This is something they're coming with the balance and the audio changes, so I didn't ask it. Make interchange great again. That's part of the stuff that they included when Nikita talked about the updates that are coming with the next patch for lighting and stuff like that. It's included with my open Q&A video. He did say that specifically. It's coming with the next patch. Are there going to be any drops with Twitch again? Absolutely, because it's just way too popular. Of course, they're going to do more Twitch drop stuff. Those things always blow up. HKG3, I think they said it's confirmed. Guns, I'm like kind of like neither here nor there. If they want the gun in game, they're going to add it as DLC at this point, if they haven't already confirmed it or showed it. Will Leaf the Arena have a BSG-backed esports scene? Absolutely. They're trying to do the esports thing with that. That's really a priority with them. They really want to do the esports thing. In Arena, is it like CS? It's kind of CS style. It's kind of Call of Duty style. We'll find out in a couple months. Thoughts on adding wanted looking for systems so that you can mark certain items that you may need for your hideout. Ended up cutting that one, but it's included with sort of like what's going on with the locking items in your stash so that they don't get moved around when you clean it. When we get Unity 21 update, performance optimization, that's for the next patch, so that's included. Can they release Legacy Tarkov? Not going to happen. Sorry, bud. How many services will Lightkeeper have with 14? They're keeping that stuff secret, so we'll find out. What's the plan for reserves, audio, buggy spots? They're going to include it. I'm actually getting lightheaded. I'm not just losing my voice. I'm actually getting lightheaded. This is too much. We're almost done, though. What's the plan for reserves, audio, buggy spots? Audio and stuff, they're constantly working on that stuff, so hopefully they fix it. I think the game should reward you more by doing PvP. Welcome to that part of the club, man. We'll see what they end up doing. Wait for Arena. Does BSG plan to only change or remove raid timers in the future when they add map-to-map travel? We're going to have to find out with map-to-map travel. I'm sure that's something that's completely up in the air, and not even they will have an answer to that at the moment. Hold F to quietly open door. Part of the stuff that they're talking about with the balance to movement and stuff like that. Hopefully that is a thing. I'd really like that myself. When will there be more usability for Red Rebel? Nikita's talked about this in the past. There's going to be a lot of crazy extracts, and they have plans for a lot more extracts. We saw a couple of them with the Streets expansion, so hopefully they do that, and we'll see a lot more when like they do the open world and like the map-to-map travel stuff. We'll see. I know they plan to, so we'll see what they're going on with that. Are we going to get AI code rewritten? Still in the works. That's the Unity 21 stuff. That's the new netcode stuff. Hopefully we get it for the next patch. When will they fix the fucking game? Who knows? We'll see. Usually the people that word this stuff like this, I feel like that's just a no. I feel like it's never going to be good enough if this is where people are at. But I understand the sentiment, and I understand why people say stuff like this, but it's just, pay attention. They're constantly working on it. It's not like they're not trying. Hopefully it's better for you in the future. Otherwise, completely understand why you would want to go and play a different game. When will it be possible to skip the wipe? That's after launch. We already know that. It's going to be after launch. There's going to be persistent stuff. Is there a big AI update coming? What's the plan with AI? They did a little bit with this patch, and they also talked about it with the next patch. And then in general, if that's also included with it, the open Q&A, Nikita talked about the more scav factions that are coming, including accidentally confirming the Black Division, so that's also included in that. XM8, because it's a rare gun, I doubt they're going to add any more rare guns. we'll see. It's probably going to be DLC if they do it. More high tier loot spawns for reserve interchange customs and woods. That's definitely part of the balance stuff. So we'll see if they do that with the next patch, or see what they will do with that with the next patch. Will we ever get a level assuming means lever action? We'll see. I think they've said in the past no, because it doesn't really fit. Like, it doesn't fit in like a war zone. But at the same time, they've added crazier stuff, so maybe. Either way, I think it'd probably be DLC unless they try and sneak it in there earlier. Will they add sex to EFT? Again, like the other person asked before, go find a buddy and go up to room 326 or whatever that is from Pinewood, and then also Camelot over near Courtyard. Is it Courtyard exit on Streets? And you'll find out for yourself there. You can will it to happen. Will be possible to create PMC with weight and height options? Very much doubt it. Extreme doubt it. What are core features that still need to be added into Tarkov or Arena for full release? That's a massive Q&A question on its own. So that's why we need something to be a bit more specific when you ask questions like this. If you have to be in chat or you happen to end up saying that, we need something way more specific with Q&As and stuff like this, because pretty much the entire Q&A can be represented by that. Will there be custom kit creating? Will there be custom kit creating for non-EFT owners who play Arena or level and rep? As I am aware right now, as long as you just own the base game, you'll be able to use a custom kit in Arena. That's it. You don't need to have EOD. It'd just be, as long as you have the base game, you can make a custom kit for Arena. Will there be game mode similar to Hired Ops? It's essentially Hired Ops. It's Hired Ops. Like, that's what the universe is inside of Escape from Tarkov for Arena. Will there be Arena exclusive weapons and armor? Nikita already said yes for that stuff. And you will be able to bring it to the base game somehow. Will we see any new quest or kill bosses for their clothes or weapons? We actually just saw a new one today. So yes. Can we get a loot rework on all maps except for Streets? They're going to include Streets with that. They're going to be doing those balance changes with that the next patch. Will we get a shoreline rework or at least ability to shoot the floodlights in Resort? Good question. Not as important as other questions right now. Hopefully they end up doing that. What the future plans is dynamic loot. They'll make it more dynamic. There's going to be more stuff changing. Hopefully they fix some stuff, because there's boxes that you can't loot that are currently visible in the game. So hopefully they fix that. A clear answer to true open world would be nice. And yes, it would be nice. And I asked about that, Seepert. So hopefully they get a good answer for that. Will we see any more interesting extracts like Interchange has in the works? I know for a fact they're working on it. BTR, taxi, mechanics. Yeah, would be nice to know. We removed it from our Q&A because there's only so many questions that we can ask. Demands for the game to come to Steam is quite high. As far as I know, it's still part of the plan to bring it to Steam after release. After full release, they're going to bring it to Steam. Question from chat. I forgot to mention a few videos ago, someone asked about controller support. You said no, pretty much, but you know there was 2-second clip of joystick turning in the Arena trailer, right? Yeah, maybe they used it, or maybe what they did was they did a pan thing. You can do this where you can hotkey, or what am I saying? You can keyframe in Unity. And because they're using like dev tools to have that camera, I'm glad you brought that up. Because they're using dev tools to even use that camera in the first place, they could have very easily keyframed that movement to make it so smooth. So doubt they're going to add controller support. So doubt it. But maybe they will. That's my thought on it. Similar question for Arena EFT. Will it be possible belt machine? If it's in the base game, it's going to be in Arena. So I'm assuming they're going to add belt feds into Arena. Cat Hideout, it's going to be coming. Or Hideout Cat, it's going to be coming. Will we have canted shoulder firing with laser is on? I don't know why having a laser on would change that. So yes, because they're doing that. Are there currently plans to fix RAM leaks? Didn't they already do a thing for that? But yes. I think they already changed that with a recent patch, or they made some improvements with that with the recent patch. When will they rework the behavior of light and shadow? That's coming in the next patch. Interchange overhaul coming with the next patch. Is there ever plans for any kind of replay system or heat map type of deal? Replay system is going to be tested in Arena. It's coming with Arena. We already saw it with Arena already. And then as far as I know, as long as it works in Arena, they're planning on bringing it to the base game if they can find a good way to do that. Will more bosses or raider rogues from Tarkov there's going to be more, and they even specifically said they would like to add a Western boss specifically. They would like to. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but they would like to. So we'll see. An app for your hideout, yeah, that's the API. That's work in progress. We'll see what happens with that. Will Arena, and I think I re-added it. Yeah, I re-added to our Q&A here. Boop. When can we expect the recoil system rework? It's literally on the roadmap. Hopefully, it's in the next patch. Painkiller effect change, not going to happen. BSG is doing something to improve FPS in streets. Yes, constantly working on that. And they even specifically said they're going to lower the detail to improve that. Women operators, this is the current joke. BSG hate women, of course. Everybody keeps asking, and they always say no. Their point of view on this is that there are so few. This is like, they answered this very specifically years ago. And if you want to see Nikita squirm about the question twice, sorry, Nikita, if you're watching this, if you want to watch Nikita squirm about this question twice in the open Q&A, you can go do that. They're just not going to do it. And the question and the answer that they gave like years ago was that there's so few women PMCs out there, like specifically women that are PMCs. And there's so few, and the same thing, because it's the same thing goes to minorities inside Russia. There's so few minorities in Russia that they're just not adding them. They're just not going to add them. So, not saying that I agree with it. If you ask me, this is a video game. We're supposed to be able to live like a fantasy world inside our video games. And so you're supposed to be able to do kind of what you want in games like this. And definitely when it comes to creating your character, it helps you get more immersed if that creator looks like, or if that character looks like you. So I'm very much on board with that. But they're not doing it. So yeah. Can we get an option to take gloves off any type? I prefer, I'm saying that's a no, because everything involved with gloves and like what you're wearing and stuff is tied into that, the system of clothing, and that you can't change that in raid. And I just don't think they'll add anything like that. Will we see disruptions to gameplay loop in 2023? We'd love to see some testing. That's such a vague question. There's going to be a lot of changes when it comes to balance and how the game works and runs and stuff like that in terms of your gameplay loop, because of the main storyline and how that's going to work. So technically, yes. Just wait. When can we queue crafts in the hideout? That's a great question. I think they said yes. When arena, they're not going to answer that any differently. FSR 3.0, DLSS 3. I think they said that in the open Q&A that's coming. When Unity 2021 is on the roadmap, and we did ask about it today, they have looked into letting more people into ETS. They constantly move people in and out of ETS. Unconscious State asked about it. In arena, can you bring gear from your PMC? Already know that for a fact. Could they please add the same ammo printout when checking chamber as in when checking mag? More important question to ask. There's more important questions to ask. Hopefully they end up doing that though, because that's a good point. Can they implement a loading screen game? Give me something to do. It's called the second monitor or your phone. No, actually not second monitor. Do not tab out of Tarkov when you're loading to a raid. Do not do that. It's called a mobile device. What is the current challenges regarding servers? That's not something that they would ask, and they would just say that they are constantly working on it, and they said that they're working on it for the next patch. Ask for ETA on the stash increase from the quest line. Did it today. Ban waves. I'm going to ask separately about that. I'd like to see the printouts from that, and I'd like to see them telling us when more people get banned. And is there any changes coming to red dot sites, such as the PKO6? Balance changes coming, and PKO6 in particular, I know that they're not going to change because they've said in the past that it's a very cheap and dumb site in real life, so they wanted to represent that in the game as well. With the addition of the new anti-cheat, will the old ways of looting come back? I doubt it, because everything still helps and the cheater problem is still a problem, so I doubt that they'll go back to doing that. But maybe. Will Lightkeeper get more tasks when Lightkeeper services come out? Yes, that's literally the point of the Lightkeeper tasks in the Lightkeeper services. That is exactly what's going to happen. And there's also going to be his trading stuff. Like, he's going to actually be a trader starting next wipe. Are there any plans to improve on key rooms? Ask that question with Airwing's question there. Why don't they fix simple things like Lightkeeper DSP craft? Good question. Hopefully they do, and it seems like they're working on it. Custom hideout music. More important question to ask. When arena? They're not going to answer that. It's just going to be some point. It's going to be this year. Dragon Body still planned. We asked about it. When is this game going to actually be optimized? They're constantly working on it. That's obvious. Who knows? Also, maybe get a better PC if you're working with like a really bad PC. It seems like that's just what we're working with. I get it. I do understand it. I get it. But it's just, we'll take what we can get. Any more books planned? I don't think so. We'll see what's going on with that. There's more important questions to ask. Sorry. When is the Unity update coming out? They said it's planned for next patch, and we did ask about it in this Q&A. Are they thinking about changing the new painkiller effect? Nope. When you consume an item with double click, can they let the cursor be on the accept button by default? You can kind of change it, and they did change it up today. So hopefully that guy is, or girl is, more happy with what they did today, with the option that they added today. Could you make Lightkeeper's task slightly easier? Probably not, but there's some more balance changes coming. They want them difficult for a reason. Are they rewriting the game entirely? Who's this work going? Probably mean how this work is going. That's the Unity 21 stuff. They're not rewriting the entire game, no. And we'll see what they do, or see what they accomplish with what they do with the next patch. I remember way less questions being on this list. When are they buffing the loot spawns? Constantly working on that. They're doing the balance next patch. When did they stop posting the list of banned cheaters? Another good question. I'd like them to continue to do that, so I'm going to ask them about that separately. Ask them when they will start to think of quality of life assets for the game. Start to think? We get that stuff constantly. That's a lot of people I don't think even watch the game. Like, I don't think they keep up with the updates and stuff like that. They said that, I mean, hell, we got like, didn't we get a ton of that this wipe? But the new UI and stuff, like, bro, check the most recent patch. They said that they were working on the same old roadmap. But recently, Nikita leaked that further Streets expansions are on hold. That's define old, and yes, things change. Hopefully, we will get a new roadmap. Where the Fook Arena coming up this year at some point? It's a good question. Hopefully sooner. Why not do more events to mix up the games? They want to do more events. They're constantly working on stuff like that, but then they also get people complaining when they do events and stuff like that. You guys can see what happens in my comment section of the stuff that popped up before the last wipe. It's a weird spot in the community when they do these new events. Why aren't they easier? Why aren't they more? This is stupid. And it's just like, it's a weird spot. They're a weird spot when it comes to new events. Will recoil be reworked? It's literally named in the new roadmap. So yes. Can you allow, and they even showed us a bit of it, allow smoke grenades into special slots? Good question. Too bad we're being cut for questions, and I would have added that. Will BSG look into using, also a question on like incendiaries and stuff like that. Don't know what's going on with that stuff. Need to take a sip here. I'm losing my voice. I actually don't know if the DSP bug was fixed this morning patch. I'm not sure. I hope it was, because that's been a long one. Also, what I really hope is they fix the no collider on the back of Concordia there that lets you fall into the back rooms. If any of you guys in chat know that was a fix today, I'd like to know about that. I'll check in after we're done with this. I'm assuming AnyBrain is like a AI thing. They're looking into a lot, but they're not going to talk about it. Audio, I've asked about it. Is any plans to make game modes in Arena with more tactics and slow-paced gameplay? Something like SWAT 4. I think that's kind of the vibe that they're going for. It just depends on who you're playing up against. Is the scope rework still coming? Yes. Yeah, I'm genuinely actually getting dizzy. I need to chill out. Hello, just asked you about our African servers every day. So, again, with servers, every time that BSG bring it up, there's certain regions of the world where there's so few players and there's such little access to good servers, it just doesn't make sense for them to do it. That's just the reality. And there could also be a combination of really bad servers that are really expensive just because of the region of the world. So not only are they going to have to pay out of the ass, and this is only some regions, but this is how they've explained it in the past. In some parts of the world, there's really crappy servers that are really expensive. So not only will they have to pay out of the ass for those really crappy servers, but then when the players go and play on those really crappy servers, they just complain constantly because they're really crappy servers, and there's nothing that BSG can do about it. So it's like a lose-lose for stuff like that. I forget when Nikita gave that explanation or somebody from BSG gave that explanation, but if you think about it, yeah, that makes sense for some regions. So it's the reality of the situation. When stash expansion, I think he's talking about the extra 2 spaces. They did that today. When wipe, December. Ask when we can get a key box and a toolbox in the hideout. I know they want to do hideout expansions, and if they're willing to do something like the gun wall, also they want to add that like trophy case kind of a thing that might include some stuff. So maybe they'll do some extra stuff like that too. The hideout. When customized size, go play Baldur's Gate. You'll get that. Please G3A3. I would also be on that train. Hopefully they add it. this was the question I removed earlier. This was one of the questions I removed earlier. I just feel like this is something that they'll add eventually. They just need to remember about it. So I'm going to ask about it separately. Because if we can do all the things, and we've all been there when you're, control clicking through all the craziness that you have on your guns that we've gotten, like the canted sight, the zoomed in sight, the regular sight, the move the magnifier over to get the regular hollow. When we've done this, if they have all that craziness, I'd have to assume that this is also a possibility. Also, you can kind of make this happen. I'm blanking on it at the moment, but you can kind of force this to happen with certain site combinations too. Just go look. If you're really anxious to know about this stuff, just go look it up. There's a way to do this. However, it makes it like kind of janky. So hopefully they make an option for this too. Are they going to implement armor plates and new armor hitboxes to Arena? That's a good question. I'd like to ask about it, but I mean, if it's going to be in the base game, I'm assuming it's going to be in Arena. Same thing for all of the rest of these questions. If it's going to be in the base game, then hopefully it's in Arena, and we can't talk about ETS. Is the no PMC ADS noise a bug or intended for this wipe? I haven't had that happen. I actually don't know anything about that, and I'm assuming it's a no. I'm assuming that's not intended. Are there plans to hire developers for remote positions? As far as I know, they're doing that right now, Luna. So if you're watching this, hopefully, and if anybody else is curious, if you go to the BSG website, they've got like positions. And now I'm not talking about the Escape from Tarkov website. I'm talking about the Battle State Games website. They have positions listed there all the time. So go check it out. Is it possible to see mode in Tarkov that has no wipes? Yes, that's after release. That's exactly what's going to happen with the persistent servers after release. Whenever we're getting the extra stash base, that happened today. Kill cams for solos, and kill cams and all that stuff. It's going to be in Arena. They're going to test it in Arena. If it works well in Arena, they're going to try and move it to the base game. So will the vaulting include all those new animations that were shown? Yeah. Anti-cheat, they're working on it. They're not going to talk about it. Are we going to have a proper anti-cheat? They're working on it. They're not going to talk about it. Option to add something similar to WoW tokens. Are you fucking high? I was waiting to get to this one. Option to add something similar to WoW tokens. I mean, buying rubles with IRL money. Desperates are doing it anyway, but instead to BSG's wallet, it goes to RMT. I get what you're saying. I just know though, right? Just like, this is just, am I insane? Am I the crazy one? Just like, no, we shouldn't do this. Just no, right? Am I insane? And this is where this is to the chat, guys, with the live stream to give some point of view on this. I get your point of view. I get it. I'd like to see some data that would point to saying that it decreased RMT for WoW. I get it with WoW. And hell, I've bought a couple WoW tokens for WoW because it's just, I can't play constantly. I can't always grind the gold and stuff like that. So I get it. I am a quote unquote abuser of the WoW token in World of Warcraft myself. I would just like to know if it actually correlates to less RMT, or is RMT just going to lower their prices? I get it, but it utterly bones the economy of the base game. So that's why I'm such a clear no on that. I get it. You're in the right mindset. I know you're thinking out the box a little bit, because other games have done it. Just to know though, like, you're gonna annihilate the economy. It's gonna, yeah. Any ETA on viable zooms for scopes? They're working on it. Very serious question. What does BG think about actual gameplay situation? Will they work for? This is a massive tear. I put out a tweet about this earlier. There is a massive tear in the community between PvE Central and PvP Central. You can't have both with this game. You can't. Because it's basically what we have right now, and people hate it on both sides. Kinda. There's things for people to, obviously people are still playing, obviously. But I genuinely don't think that a majority is going to come out of this. I don't think that there will be a majority of the community that we have right now that can appreciate the gameplay that comes from Escape from Tarkov that will end up liking the game when they make their final decision. I think it's impossible. I genuinely think it's impossible. There's too many people that value PvP gameplay in the base game, and there's too many people that value PvE gameplay, so that when they try, which they will attempt to do somehow, or they're kind of already doing it, when they try to make as many of the PvP players happy as possible, they'll end up pissing off the PvE players. So crazy fucking situation here. And obviously, it's something at the front of their brain constantly, definitely with Nikita. And I just don't think it's going to be possible to do it. I think they're just going to try and, draw straws and see what happens, and they'll balance and they'll tweak from there. And it's going to be what the first major kicker with that is going to be with the next patch with the balance changes that they're doing with that. When will gameplay changes be reverted? That's not going to happen. Any plans to start? There's one of the PvP focused people there. Any plans to start IP hardware banning? As far as I know, they do that. I'm not like an anti-cheat expert, but I don't they do that and they just get around it? I don't know. Any plans to add more streamer items? They're going to add more streamer items in some way, shape, or form. And they'll add some crazier stuff. Can you make my PMC hold this pistol like at least a middle schooler would? I can't see what I'm shooting. 99. There's going to be balance changes and stuff like that. I think that's why they mainly changed the stuff with the... Then they changed the angle of the dangle there with the PM pistol when they made the PM pistol changes. It's something that they're working on. Any plans on a workaround for the flea market capture thing? No, it's there for a reason. What are the further enhancements to Scav AI? They talked about that in the open Q&A. There's going to be patrols. They've talked about it a lot in the past. It's just not showing up yet when it comes to like performance stuff, because the more AI that they have, then the more advanced AI doing more advanced things, then the greater hits of the performance that they have, because it's something else that the server needs to handle, right? So that's coming with the next patch. They're going to try it with the new network changes and stuff like that, the new net code changes and stuff like that, and Unity 21 with the next patch. So we'll see what happens with that in the next patch. Aztec Factory can be a scav karma void zone. Not going to happen, but there is going to be the scav wars where you're not going to get penalized for killing other scavs eventually. Will we ever get new night vision goggles? Yes, they're constantly working on that stuff. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we can't double up on those tubes. I was thinking about that this wipe as well. I wish we could, instead of just getting a new headset. I'd also like that. Could the system message that informs us of cheaters reported come with some sort of compensation reward? They've said no when they implemented this system. They said no because it's going to be too much data in the background. The reason why Psycho Frontier did it before is because they could find a way to make the data work, whether it be the type of loot system that they had in that, or, apologies, not to offend anybody, but it could be player based. There was so few people playing that they could have done that. And, it's not a hit at them because it's the truth. They're literally shutting their servers down this month or last month because of that. So that could have been possibly why they did that, or had the ability to do that. Could BSG consider removing Found and Raid for the flea market? I doubt they're going to do that. Better anti-cheat. They're constantly working on it. Why not keep confronting them on cheaters instead of shit like clothing? Because they're constantly working on it. It's true. They're constantly working on it. The more that they say, the more weapons that they give to cheaters. That's just the reality of the situation. Woo! All right. I'm not gonna lie. We've got a massive forum on the Discord as well. But because I'm losing my voice, I think I'll just go through, and I'm assuming a bunch of these guys and girls are gonna see the video that I post, which is just the VoD. This was the full Q&A too, by the way. This was full 44 questions, so we have them saved at least. And really, we really went over a lot of this stuff. Hopefully we get some good answers for you guys. I'll go through and I'll text answer these so that I don't lose my voice, also so that I can actually take a break and go get some food, in terms of me right now sitting here today, so I can actually go eat. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this VOD and I'm going to post it on the second channel so that everybody can see it, and then I'll go through the Discord stuff, and I will answer those in text form. Otherwise, I will also send these new questions, which are right here, to BSG. I'm gonna say fuck it, and I'll just take these out and I'll ask those questions. See what they say. I'll rephrase these two a little bit better. Because it's not 44 questions. I'll see what they say. Hopefully we'll get an answer soon. If they agree, it might be about a week until we get the full answers. Maybe sooner, maybe not. Again, just so everybody understands, the reason why I took all the arena questions out is because we kind of already got answers to them. This is the one real, controversial, not controversial, but what's the word I'm looking for? Um, blah. There was some crossover. It was a contradiction from what we heard from a couple different sources about this one in particular. So now we just have a clear answer. And even if we don't get an answer, we're gonna know. We're gonna know in a couple months anyway, because Arena is gonna be releasing. So we'll get that stuff anyway. The rest of these I find very, very important and just good, very good to know for the future of the game in general. And we'll see what they say. But my voice is going to be gone here soon, so I'm going to cut it here. I have a question. Let me just hit chat since you guys are here, and I'll put the question. I'll put the music back up for me so that I can hear it a little bit. Was for a while. The longer the token stays, the cheaper RMT will be. That's an interesting topic. It's an interesting topic. I'll give it that, but you're gonna trash the economy, man. You're gonna trash it if you do the tokens. And BSG have already said they will be going against what they've been saying forever, which is they will not do microtransactions. And if there is ever a definition of a microtransaction for a game like this, it would be that. It'd be you're paying for rubles. And it would still happen. RMT will just lower the prices. It's still going, it would not solve the problem. I have a question that included in QA. If you want, the first roadmap, they speak about overall suppressor durability. That was something that I ended up removing because I don't find it as important as the questions that we're trying to add in the Q&A. We need to lessen the questions. They said there's too many questions. They're not going to do that many questions. This is coming from BSG. So it's something that they said that they were working on. So we'll just have to wait and see kind of a thing. It'd be nice to have an update, but it'd also be nice to have an update on a bunch of other things that we know that they're working on. A lot of the questions that we're going to end up asking is stuff that we genuinely don't know about. So that's why I'm warranting asking these questions. Did you see my first comment about a possible third PMC faction choice, Scav Raider? I did. We're not including it because I don't think they're going to do it. Because you're talking about like main screen, first open up the game, day one of wipe, USEC, bear, blah, 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 whatever. We're going to have the Scav Life DLC. Other than that, no. I really don't think they're going to do it. I think it's enough of like a clear no in my mind that I think we should ask a different question in its place because we're trying to cut questions. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, guys, we're going to cut it there. I am genuinely going to lose my voice. Thank you guys to the hundreds of people that asked these questions as I'm still scrolling up. Hundreds of people. We literally just went through and answered every single one of them that we have here. Have my list there. I'm going to ask BSG. And then at least they have these questions in advance. So maybe when they do their Q&As down the line for like Tarkov TV and stuff like that, they're going to have this stuff. They're going to know what we want to know and stuff like that. And there's also going to be some other extra stuff that I'm going to just straight up DM Nikita and maybe he'll ask and maybe he'll answer some stuff. Because sometimes he does. All right. So I'm going to cut this VOD. I'm going to put it on the second channel. If you guys want to rewatch that, it's going to be on the second channel. It's probably going to take like 3 hours to upload at this point. But it's going to be a thing. And then I'll just I'll link the VOD of this on Twitter and in the Discord as well. Otherwise, check out the patch today, ! YouTube. There was some patch, a big patch with a bunch of fixes, a little bit of nerfs, a bunch of new tasks. Check that out on the main channel. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.